Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Andrew with Creative Community Solutions. And as you're aware, on the press and media end, we get an opportunity to talk with some extraordinary people doing some really good things. So, whether it's in arts and entertainment, government and politics, community, nonprofits, college and professional sports, we appreciate folks taking time to sit down and talk with us. To go ahead and catch the article, make sure to visit our website of acenortonccs.com. Click on the menu for articles and coverage, and you'll see it there. On Facebook and YouTube, Creative Community Solutions LLC, where you'll see the full interview as well as a couple of snippets. Ace Norton CCS on Instagram and Twitter, and we will also have this available on LinkedIn and Medium. So, as you know, the springtime is a great time, but there are a number of people that are preparing for their next step in regards to the pursuit of their professional aspirations. And that means for football fans, NFL draft is right around the corner. And I'm so excited to get a chance to sit down and talk with one of the tremendous people that we've had a chance to cover. So for those who don't know who you are, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. How y'all doing? I'm Jayden Loving, defensive tackle from Wake Forest. I wore number 8 this past year.
Okay, Jayden, before we talk about the next steps in pursuit of your NFL career, walk through with us a point of reference. Where are you based out of, and what were some of your moving parts before, quote, football chose you and you chose football?
Yes, for sure. So originally I was born in Jackson, Tennessee, out there in that West Tennessee part. Mom, dad, 2 brothers, one older, one younger, and younger sister. We grew. It really just like chose us. I know it's a cliche to say, like we was born into the life of sports. Basketball, baseball, football. We always played sports year round, and they just mom and dad was always our coaches and stuff like that. And they leaned heavy. Mom's a teacher, so she wasn't playing about being in the classroom and stuff like that either. So that's a real big thing I'm fond of and happy that she taught me just work ethic. I say is the major thing because she always worked 2 to 3 jobs, just making sure we had stuff, and stuff like that. So I feel like starting off, we didn't really get a say so on whether we wanted to play sports or not. It's either you gonna play these sports or you gonna play these sports. There was no other option. But it's like we always loved it, and there's always that competition aspect having those brothers and stuff. We fought a lot. You know how young kids are and brothers and stuff like that. So it's always been around that like competitive aspect, whether it's playing the game or going outside racing or seeing who can catch the ball better and stuff like that. So that's all I've ever known really is sports and competition. And then we moved to Alabama. I say my fifth, sixth grade year. Just moved down there with our mom. Just change the scenery. Trying to open up more range of options of like life and stuff like that. So we went down there, and there's a place called Millbrook, Alabama. We was down there. We lived there through middle school, and then for my high school years, we moved up to Hamilton, Alabama, which is where I'm from. I say Alabama because I feel like where you're from is the place that made you the person you are, made your personality and stuff like that. So I say Hamilton, Alabama is where I'm from, but that's my full backstory right there, like where I'm originally from and stuff like that. But yeah, I played football and basketball and did track at Hamilton High School. My brothers also did football, basketball, and baseball. They're real big baseball guys. So my older brother plays center at Bethune-Cookman University, where I started at in college. And then my little brother plays Division I baseball at North Alabama. So it's real athletic family. Everybody trying to go D1, trying to compete. But that's really just my backstory. I say growing up, getting to the life stuff like that. Mama never took no for an answer. Like she always taught us, keep going. Like you got to do something with your life. You ain't gonna sit around and be nothing. And so we really took that and ran with that. She really laid the blueprint for all of us. So that's how I got into the sports.
Well, and I'm glad you shared that because a number of people, part of it, like you said, it is competition, obviously the physical aspect, the team building, camaraderie, things along those lines. So, speaking of, we know football, a lot of the terminology is about, a brotherhood, a fellowship, things along those lines. Speak to some of those takeaways and some of those lessons, especially this past season.
So I feel like, every place you go, you live and you learn. Like being able to start off at a HBCU and then going to a PWI, you really learn different people, different backgrounds, and you learn how to work with people because everyone knows not everyone reacts to things the same way, whether that's how being a good friend or being a good leader. Like if you want to be a good leader, you gotta know how everyone acts and know what makes them click, what makes them mad, what makes them happy, what gets them going. Can be screaming at them or can you scream at them and things like that. And I feel like that all ties back into how's your relationship in the locker room. And I've always been a big people person. That's one good thing about me. Like being able to just go talk to people, find out who they are, whether that's real conversations or just joking around, playing around. And I feel like when you go into a situation where you want to have a good team or have a good bond, you gotta really it's all about hanging out outside of football, outside of the sport. Like I say, my biggest, most fun moments is just like going out to eat with the guys, especially like when you getting somewhere new and you want to learn about somebody. It's always good to do over breaking bread for sure. So that's one of the biggest things when I got here is like I met my guys, see who I'm with. Now we in a group chat, I'm a talkative person. You can ask my teammates. Like Coach Digger likes saying, you can hear me before you see me. It's very true about me. Like I like talking to my guys and seeing how their day's going and getting them riled up. So when I got here, we just send them text in the group chat. What y'all doing? Let's go eat. Let's go hang out. Let's go bowling. Let's go do something like that outside of football because that's where the real football memories are made. You always gonna remember the things that happen off the field way more than things that happen on like I could tell you some of the plays I made, but I can tell you 1,000 memories that I have off the field with the guys, whether that's a joke or somebody wrestling with somebody else or playing the game. Like, dude, I played with play UFC with a guy every day. I remember it throughout fall camp, stuff like that. You sitting around, but Wyatt Crestby, my boy, I just sitting there playing the game with him every single day, or talking to a guy like Mateen, just getting them real conversations in. Zach Dallas and all my younger guys being able to coach up. Like they call me pops, and like the D line rooms. I was one of the older guys, like Josiah and KD. My guys BB, just all those guys being able to hang out with them and build a good bond. Like it's something I'm gonna hold dearly and be with me for the rest of my life for sure.
And I'm glad you shared that because oftentimes we focus on what's happening on the field. Not to say that that's not important, but like you said, the team building, the camaraderie, being able to connect with people, and those parlay into being what things people look for, being teachable, being coachable. Speak to your ability, and you've kind of already spoken to it, just being teachable and coachable and how you feel you are continuing to grow, not only as a player, but as a person.
For sure. I feel like I'm a very teachable slash coachable guy. I feel like the best leaders are the ones that always want to learn and always want to see what somebody else has or see different ideas and see different outcomes and how different things work. I was blessed to have a bunch of good coaches throughout my career, like starting off with Coach Lane, at Bethune-Cookman, and going to Coach Hall at Western Kentucky. See, it was all different. I got like all different ends of the sword because Coach Lane was an older, more strict guy. And I got to Coach Hall at Western. He's a younger guy coming into the game, and he's like even around like a few years older than us. But that's our coach. You got to listen to him. You got to learn how to work with him. Just in that type of aspect of things. And then I got blessed with Coach Callaghan when I came here to Wake. I remember when I first got here on my visit. I went down to the hotel. I see an old man with a hat sitting down. He's like, "How you doing?" I sat down. He sat down across from me. I'm waiting to meet the coach. He ain't got no Wake Forest gear on, so I'm like, okay, it's just got this old guy talking to me. Be some good conversations, things I can learn probably. And we sat there. We talked about God for like 30 minutes to an hour straight. So, and I didn't even know he was the coach yet. And I'm sitting down. I look over the balcony. I see a guy that I know from Western Kentucky, a GA, Coach Carter. He's a good dude. He leaned down. He's like, "So I see you met Coach." I was like, "Met Coach." I was like, "Oh, this my coach right here, Coach K." So he gave off that vibe of being like a father figure. Just being a person that I can look up to and that's going to help me and that's going to care about the person more than the player, which I feel like that explains his personality. And that's something I've learned from a lot this year, just being able to connect on a different level. Like I remember one meeting we had, we just sat down and instead of talking about film, football and stuff like that, he sat down everybody and we went around the room and we said two things we liked about each person and one thing we admire about them. And I probably remember that meeting. That's probably one of my most emotional meetings I've had for sure in my football career. Just being able to see what your peers think of you and let them know how you think of them. Because I always feel like it's good to give their flowers while they're still here. Let people know how you feel about them while you're still here. Because life is short, football is short. At the end of the day, you're gonna have your relationships and your memories. So I feel like just being able to connect on that aspect of person to person and not just football and that helps me be like a good leader and be coachable, especially my mom, stuff like that. I know I told you she was a teacher, so she didn't play that anyways. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna do what from the person that's in charge of me tell me to do, because at the end of the day, they want what's best for you. So.
And I'm glad you shared that because it does give insight. There are so many other moving parts other than what's on field, and there's so many takeaways that you have beyond the game, just in life. Now, speaking of your recent life, from what I understand, this week a very big week in regards to pro day. Walk us through not just the physical, but the mental preparation along with the engagement you may have had to have with different scouts and other personnel.
Yes. Do you mean go just from the day or like building up to it?
Either, hey, you're share with us the story that, yeah, just go ahead and share it.
I
You're
got
good.
you. Yes, sir. So I did my training out at D1 in Nashville, Tennessee. With a guy named Cliff Marshall, which Cliff, I got put onto him by one of the agents I was looking into, so I'm forever thankful for him for that. I didn't end up choosing him, but he gave me great connections, and he even hit my phone to this day. We still have a good convo. But so I got put on with Mr. Cliff. And Cliff's just now getting back to the game and stuff like that, but he's well decorated for sure. But I remember Coach Cliff. He just called and talked to me. He's like, I seen what you can do on film, but I want to know the person more. So when we go down there, the past 8 weeks training, it's been big mental. Like it's been physical, of course, but that's what your whole career is going to be physical, getting out there, going, working out, doing what you got to do to be in the best physical shape. But people don't really talk about, as you were saying, like the mental aspect of it, because the whole time you thinking, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? Or how am I going to do this? How am I do that? And I feel like he helped ease that mindset, that thought. We had a guy that was helping us there, a mental health guy named Drew. He's a great guy, just having those meetings. And then Coach Cliff, just a person you can talk to. And we're out there and he does like so every Wednesday we did Bible study. And I feel like if you're gonna grow in anything, you gotta get closer with your faith first. He was like, one thing that really stuck with me is every battle in life is spiritual. So that's something that he implemented into us. Like, no matter how bad you think it is, it's just spiritual. Yeah, you get into that book, you get into that word, you're getting closer to God. It's going to help you further than anything football can do. And I know he was like, those numbers don't define you. So whether you go out there and have an amazing day or whether you go out there and have a horrible day, those numbers do not define you. It's about your connection with God and how you perceive that. And I just feel like that was a big mental help for me, because I'm a little bit of an overthinker, I would say, just because like I always like to do things right. I'm always wanting to get that one up. I always want to be the best. That's the competitive mindset in me, and it's been like that since I was little. Competing with my brothers and stuff like that. So I always wanted to be the best. I know the night before pro day, I'm tossing and turning. I'm waking up every hour or two. I'm like, I can't sleep. I'm ready to go. Like I'm out there thinking. I remember I had a bad dream. I just told my family about this, but I had a dream the night for pro day. I just had a horrible pro day. I'm like, oh my gosh, in my dream, I'm so down. But then I wake up. So it cleared that mindset for me is nothing bad's gonna happen. Even though you think you already seen the worst outcome, I just seen the worst outcome when I was out there sleeping, and it still wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. So just being able to have that mindset of it's not as bad as it is, or not as bad as it looks. I feel like that's a good mindset to have because at the end of the day, the one true goal is getting right with God and our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So I just feel like that's the mindset I'm gonna take into things. Take everything serious, but don't take everything serious. Have fun, love the game, love the people you're around, and love what you learn from this.
And we definitely appreciate you giving perspective because, yes, we hear it is a business, but even with your breakdown, it's like it's a business, but it is still a game. And the operative word is perspective, not only just perspective on how this all fits, but like you said, just those deeper, I'll say, meanings, especially in regards to establishing your faith. So, Pro Day has come and gone. Just what would you say was your biggest takeaway from the experience you had for Pro Day?
I think my biggest experience was how close I really am to achieving my dreams and stuff like that, my goals. Like, when you're from the outside looking in, I remember I'm in high school, everything just seems like a dream. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make it to the NFL, make it to the NBA, stuff like that. But then I get to Bethune-Cookman now. It's like I know I'm lower level FCS, but I'm still blessed with the opportunity. I'm forever thankful, forever grateful. So I was just so happy. I'm like, okay, I made it. Like I can make it from Bethune-Cookman. I can go to the NFL from Bethune-Cookman. Then I get to go to Western Kentucky. I'm like, now I'm an even step closer to going to the NFL. I'm at Western Kentucky. Now I'm at Wake Forest, and I'm just now I'm a step closer. Like it's really here. Like this is right in front of my face. All the things I worked for, stayed up late night for, woke up early morning for, is right here in my face. Going around just talking to scouts and stuff like that. It's like this is my dream right here in my hands, and it's more real than it ever seemed or anything like that. So I feel like the biggest takeaway I took from that is it's real. If you want it, you got to go get it. You got to do what you got to do. And you got to just keep God in your life. I know it's a cliche saying that, but just keeping everything in order, keep your house in order. So I feel like that's my biggest thing.
Okay. As we get ready to wind down, a couple of things that just come to mind. Again, your perspective, your maturity, your insight. If there are personnel from different teams that are looking at you, what would you say is a positive factor, a positive attribute, a positive part to your character where you really need to pay attention to who I am and what I'm doing?
Uh, I say just like if you once you really get to know me and see what I've been through and see how that's made me the person I am, like I've been through a lot. I usually don't like to talk about it a lot because I feel like everybody goes through hard times. It's about what you do with them and what makes you. And I'm a big people person. Like I like understanding the person, and who I'm working with and who's going to help push me. And I'm gonna give you all I got. Like I love the game, I love the people, I love this environment. So I'm gonna give it all I got until the wheels fall off.
Definitely appreciate that. Okay. Of course, we're kind of distant cousins. Speak
Yeah.
to our fraternity ties and speak to how some of those traits or some of those perspectives parlay not into just the game, but just your day to day.
We're big on friendship is essential to the soul. So I just feel like I was always the type of person just, being nice to one another and treat people how you want to be treated and just building connections and stuff like that. Just I feel like, the friendship essential so explains me because I'm gonna be your friend before anything. Like and after everything, I'm gonna still be your friend. So I just feel like there's a big thing to our fraternity brothers and stuff like that. Yeah, just I feel like oh, good look. Can't even explain it too much. But yeah, I'm just amazed and happy to have the opportunity to be a member of Mex Phi. Just being able to go out there and show what it truly means to be an Omega man. I'm gonna live that. I'm gonna rep that every single day of my life. So
Okay. Well, of course, some of my best friends. That's why had to throw that in there. But no, and the reason why I bring that up is people, without going too deep, people don't realize how that really is an extension of who you are. And I'm glad that you explained it the way that you did. So as we get ready to close out, last question. If people don't remember anything about your backstory, if they don't remember anything about your journey as a student athlete, if they don't recall anything about your preparation leading up to the NFL draft and those possibilities, of the many life lessons that you've already shared and the life lessons that you already have learned, what is one that you'd love to leave with people so they can apply it, whether it ranges to academics, athletics? You talked about your faith stewardship. What would be one of the many things you can share? What's one that you'd like to leave with people?
my biggest thing is I probably say is slow down, take a breath, like keep a smile on your face. It's gonna seem like everything's going so fast because it is, but you need to take time, enjoy the moment. Like you're not gonna be in that moment ever again once you think about it. Like once that moment's gone, it's gone. So my biggest thing, my biggest takeaway is slow down, take a breath, enjoy who you're around, enjoy the people that have been able to put into your life in that moment, and just slow down. Yeah, I keep that. Slow down, take a breath. I feel like that's my biggest thing. I like enjoying the moment.
Okay, well, I tell you what, Jayden, I for one appreciate you taking time. I know you've got your share of moving parts, so I definitely appreciate that. And I forgot to ask, are there preferred ways for people to connect with you to not only send words of encouragement as you continue to prep for the draft?
Yeah, for sure. I have social media platforms, JLoving23 on Instagram or Jayden Loving. Just type my name. I'll pop up somewhere. You can contact me off anything. I got Facebook. I'm an older guy in that aspect. I use Messenger and stuff like that too. So for all my older people out there want to contact me, they don't got the younger cats, little stuff like that. You can connect me on Facebook and yeah, email jaydenloving22 at Gmail. Anything like that. I appreciate everything, and I want to say thank you to you for being so flexible. You know, just being with this interview and stuff like that. Because I know I've been going on and on. We've been going back and forth about this little meeting for a minute now, and I've been getting busy and I've been forgetting. And you've been very flexible with me, so I do appreciate you for that.
Well, all I'm going to say is there's a wise person that said sometimes you just have to slow down. I think I know who that wise person
Yes,
is.
sir.
So, like I said, I definitely appreciate it. So, ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time connecting with our guest, please do not let it be your last. Of course, check out acenortonccs.com. Click on the menu for articles and coverage. You'll find our article there. Creative Community Solutions LLC on Facebook and YouTube, so that way you can see segments of the interview as well as the full interview. Ace Norton CCS on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, check us out on LinkedIn and Medium. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, all of you take very good care. We will look forward to seeing you soon.